Hello everybody, it's ChubbyBakes, and today we're here with our first ever video. This is so exciting. And today we are going to be making ourselves some chocolate chip, oatmeal, and walnut cookies. And you may be thinking to yourselves, that doesn't seem too complicated, and you're right. Follow my steps and you will have these delicious morsels filling up your house in no time. Just to read our ingredients, we have 1 3/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which is optional. I am not using salt in this recipe, but if you want to use salt, you are welcome to. 1 1/4 cups packed brown sugar, 1 cup or 2 sticks of butter or margarine softened, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 2 large eggs, 2 tablespoons of milk, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2½ cups quick or old-fashioned oats, 2 cups Nestle Toll House semi-sweet chocolate morsels, and 1 cup coarsely chopped nuts. Oh, I am already starting to taste these cookies. Now, our first step is to preheat the oven. First, we have our oven over here. And we are going to preheat our oven to about 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, we will use all of our ingredients and combine them in this very lucky, beautiful baking bowl. So, to start combining all of the ingredients, we have ourselves here, let me just put down my camera a little bit, and we have ourselves right here 2 large eggs. We're going to dump those right in there. And because you want to start out with the simple ingredients, let us have our cup of our flour, and then we will move on to our brown sugar. Next, we will use our granulated sugar, along with our oatmeal, our chocolate chips, our vanilla, our milk, and last but not least, our cup of butter or margarine if you do not eat butter. And this is what it should look like when it's all mixed. Well, not when it's all mixed, but when you have it all in the bowl. Next, we require ourselves a fork or a spoon. If you want to use an electric mixer, you're welcome to. I kind of like just using the fork or spoon just because it gives you a little bit extra of a workout when you're baking. And you kind of just go ahead and just start mushing everything together. You want to make sure that it's all nicely mixed. Maybe try folding it, stirring it, and when you get close enough, maybe you can start mixing it really, really quickly. Make sure that it's all nicely blended. We don't want to have any pockets of flour or butter because when we put our cookies down in those little balls, they're really going to stand out and they will taste a little bit funky when we serve them to our beautiful guests. So right now what I'm kind of doing is cutting up the butter with my fork, just making it a little bit smaller and easier to handle. Then you kind of start stirring it around. There we go. Let me start using my other hand because my first hand's getting a little bit tired. And maybe we'll just start switching back to my hand. There we go. And you kind of just cut it up, mix it up, stir it around, make sure we want to access the liquids at the bottom. You want to make sure that you get that liquid into the mixture as soon as possible. It's important that you get the liquid into the mixture so you don't have a bunch of dry ingredients just kind of going around. And you just keep mixing it. And it'll be a slow process, but I mean, if you use a mixer, it'll be a lot faster. But by hand, it's a slow process. But eventually, once you get it to get that nicely little bit more of a moisture texture. It's just not as dry and kind of clumping together a little more. That's when you know you're making progress. And if you can see a little bit more down here, our egg is kind of starting to surface, and our mixture, our dough, is starting to clump, which is very good news. Just kind of want to keep bringing that mixture back up. See, it's a little bit dry down there. We want to make sure that we access all points of the mixture. This is when our butter's going to start coming in handy too, because when it starts mixing in with everything else, ooh, that's going to be good. That's when you get your real big mixture. Butter's going to be a really big binder. It's going to keep everything nice and put together. The egg is going to give it some richness and a little bit of just a little lightness. It's going to be the fluffiness and everything is going to be taken out by the vanilla and bold flavors such as the chocolate. But when it comes out to this one big, perfectly balanced, rich, flavorful cookie, it's going to be delicious. And kind of just uncovering a couple other little spots like so. And you just keep mixing. You can see a lot of little clumps in there. I'll get those sorted out eventually. And now that you kind of have the first part of the mixing down, I'm going to let you guys kind of do this mixture on your own. And I will get back to you guys when I've started making some progress with the butter, because as you can see, it's still kind of clumpy. It's going to take a little bit, but trust me, it's going to start getting there. Okay, after a little bit of work and a little bit of kneading, I had to get in there with my hands, I was able to complete the dough. I forgot to mention that you need to add baking soda and oatmeal. So you need to make sure that you do that before you finish up the dough and put it in the oven. So here's what my dough looks like right now. And as you can see, it's very nice. If I were to take a clump of it out, it sticks together really well, and it forms a nice little ball, perfect for nice little cookies. And my oven has just preheated, so I am ready to get going. What we need to get is a cookie sheet. We need to get some parchment paper, and then we can start getting the cookies out and getting them onto the baking sheet. And when I get my baking sheet, I will be right back with you. Okay, I have just gotten my baking sheet out, well, my cookie sheet, and here's what it looks like. It's important that you use some parchment paper. I like using this really nice permanent parchment paper because then you don't have to constantly throw away your parchment paper and get more. This is just a lot nicer to use. Now that we have our parchment paper and cookie sheet, we are going to start getting cookies. I use this nice little cookie baller, which you can easily take a scoop of cookie, kind of even it out like this, and then voila! Cookie on the cookie sheet. I'm going to do this process a little bit more, and I can also guide you through how you can do it if you're rolling it up with your hands. So for me, I like using this cookie scooper where you kind of smush in the cookie, and it's almost like an ice cream scooper where once you have the scoop, you kind of just squeeze the handle, and then it has this really cool little mechanism that is able to take that little tiny balled cookie off of the spoon and put it onto the baking sheet. It's also a very quick process for when you are trying to put on the cookies. And so when you are trying to, kind of hurry around, or maybe you really want to make cookies tonight and you just need something real nice and quick, you don't want to have to get your hands all dirty, well, this is really nice because it does just the trick. And I like to use my hand to do this, but if I were to put you back down here and show you my bowl, you can also do this, where you take this cookie out and then you just kind of scrape it on the side. Really gets a lot of that excess off, and then when you're ready, cookie! And for many of you who may not have this, there is a much simpler way of doing it as well. And I do actually like this way a lot because it's very nice. You get to make the cookie with your own hands. And it's just like making a ball of Play-Doh. You just take a big scoop and you just roll it around like this. And if you want me to show you, it's kind of just like that. You just get a feel for it, and then eventually have yourself a nice little cookie. And I'll also use the cookie from the example before, and I will put that down on the baking sheet. Then I make another one and put it down there. You have to make sure that the cookie isn't too large, because then you're just going to have this big cookie and a bunch of other small ones. And sometimes when the cookies start kind of flattening out and expanding, I guess, they can sometimes, kind of come to each other. And when they meet, that can actually be a problem, because then you have this meeting of cookies and you have to figure out how to cut it so that you have the nice little cookies. Well, I have just gotten my 3x4 set of cookies. It's best if you have them about an inch apart, because they are going to kind of flatten out and get bigger. And if you want to, you can kind of move the cookies around a little bit so they look a little nicer and it's not like they're going to go over the edges or anything. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to put them in the oven. And then we're going to go ahead and set the timer for 9 to 10 minutes. It really depends on your type of oven how long you set the cookie timer for, because sometimes your oven is a little hot and you may have to set it for something like 8 minutes because it's going to be faster cooking. But if you have a slower oven, then you may want to set it to maybe 11 minutes because it will cook a little bit slower. It really all depends on your oven, and if you're a novice baker, I would recommend just setting your timer for 9 minutes. And I will show you what would happen if the cookies are raw and if the cookies are ready to cook. I will see you when my cookies are just about to get out of the oven. I would recommend that during the time that your cookies are baking, that you would start another cookie sheet. It's nice when you can just change out the cookies, because if you look at all of the mix that's still left in my bowl, there's going to be a lot of mix left over once you're done with your first couple batches. So it's important that you're able to switch out each cookie sheet so you don't have to wait 1 to 2 minutes while you're still kind of reloading the second one. Okay, so my 9 minutes have just gone up, and let's see how my cookies look. So my cookies look pretty nice. You can see how they're kind of bubbling, and you can take a look at them. Yeah, they're still a little bit squishy, so I'm going to put them in for just a teensy bit longer. So I'm going to put them back down there, shove them back in the oven. I'm going to check on them in a couple minutes and see if they cook a little bit more. And then we'll let them set and we'll try our first cookies. Okay, so I'm back and my timer is up. And let me just turn off my timer real quick. Okay, here we go. And yes, those cookies look absolutely amazing. So we are going to take this tray, and if I would put my camera up just a little, I'm going to take this tray and put it right over here, right over there. And then I'll take my cookies and put them on the tray. Let them cool for a couple minutes just so they can get off the tray, and we're going to put them on a nice little cooling rack. And that's going to make them nice, cool, and then we can take a bite out of one. I'm going to put my second tray in, and I will be back with you when my time is up for the second tray, and then we can pull those cookies out and repeat the process. Here's my second batch. They're looking pretty good. Can already smell that greatness. Okay, I'm going to put these on the cooling rack, and I will get the next batch started. Oh, making these cookies is certainly a treat. Not as much of a treat as the cookies themselves, but certainly is nice. Okay, those are going in, and I will see you when those are done. Here is another batch. Delicious cookies, and you can still smell them. I'm going to put these over here and on the cooling rack, but I want to show you all of the cookies that I have already made. Here we are, right down there. All of these delicious cookies. I can start stacking them up and stacking them up. They will be amazing. I can't wait to try these. They look so good. Okay, And I have my next cookie. I have my next thing over here prepared. You want to take a look at them? These are about to turn into some very delicious cookies. Let's put them in the oven. Okay, everybody, my next batch is just about to be taken out. Whew, it's a little hot down there. Okay, let's take this one out. This one's going to be a little bit different than all the others. This one's a little less cooked. I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment and see if that one tastes better or if it tastes worse. I'm going to bring my next batch over. But this one is special because there's one cookie missing. And you may be wondering, well, that's not too big of a deal. You may be thinking, that's not too big of a deal. You can just throw it right in. And no, I did not eat this cookie. But what you really want to do is you want to make sure that all of the cookies have the exact same amount of heat inside of the oven. And as you can see, it's not equal. So you need to make sure that it is. So what I just did is I put the cookie that was right here back here. And now these cookies are in the middle. So now everything is symmetrical and equal. All of the heat will flow equally and all of the cookies will be evenly cooked. Let's put that in the oven. Oh, my cat wants to see. Let's put those in the oven and let's see how they turn out. Okay, I have just finished up my last batch of cookies. These are some beautiful little tiny cookies. Put those on the cooling rack, but I think it is time. I think it is time for us to try one of these delicious cookies. I think it's time for us to try these delicious cookies, so let me go grab one real quick. How about this one? This is a very delicious looking cookie, and I do believe it's going to be quite amazing. It's slightly crunchy. But very chocolatey and has a lot of texture. I highly recommend these cookies. They are useful for anything. Snacks for a party, just something to chill with, or if you want to bring them over to a friend's house because they just need a little bit of comfort food. They are useful for every occasion. I highly recommend these for anything you need, and I hope that you make these yourself. Make sure to like and sub to me, ChubbyBakes, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day!